Hello everyone. In this session, we will discuss the history of Bitcoin and the blockchain white paper. There were many incidents in history that are responsible for the creation of Bitcoin. Out of all, the 2008 financial crisis had a huge impact on the financial system and motivated the people to not rely completely on the centralized banking system. Let's understand the crisis and its impact on the global finance industry. Before COVID-19, the worst recession faced by the global economy was the period in the year 2008. It had the worst impact on the global economy that people considered it as the global financial crisis or GFC. Many economists around the world considered the 2008 crisis as the most serious financial crisis after the Great Depression. Lax financial regulation along with the excessive risk-taking by banks, and the bursting of the United States housing bubble caused a huge drop in estimations of mortgage-backed households which were partnered to American real estate. The financial institutions around the globe suffered severe damage and declared the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers on September 15, 2008, eventually resulting in an international banking crisis. It resulted in a storm on the global financial system. Mainly, it revealed how the banks are being benefited by the users as they play a third-party role in the financial markets. Even though people lost faith in banking institutions, they were left with no other option than to rely on the banks for the financial transactions. This paved the way for the development of decentralized virtual currencies, which leaves no space for the third parties to benefit from the transactions. The main goal of this currency is to ensure the eradication of third parties, which further developed to improve the trustless system to break the constraints imposed on the traditional way of banking. Now let's talk about impacts. When the US housing bubble was hit, it spread fear around the housing market, and at the time almost 70% of the housing market was under mortgage. The fear spread around the people at a rate that it was like a tsunami. This crisis degraded the confidence in the banks across the globe, including India's then largest private lender, ICICI Bank. However, the United States of America faced the worst impact, as it was the epicenter of this global economic crisis, but the impact of the crisis on India's economy was comparatively minimal when compared to other countries. The unemployment rate increased by the day during the crisis period, which resulted in people believing that the recession may never end. Even with the recession over by the second quarter of 2009, the nation's economy was still in an economic malaise during the second quarter of 2011. The recovery from the recession was considered as the weakest recovery since the Great Depression and World War II. One commentator even called it zombie economy, as it is neither dead nor alive, it is barely surviving. Household incomes, as of August 2012, continued falling after the end of the recession, eventually declining 7.2% below the December 2007 level. The Federal Reserve kept interest rates at a historically low 0.25% from December 2008 until December 2015, when it began to raise them again. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency without a central governing body, such as the central bank, which can be transferred between peers without any need of the intermediate parties. The transactions here are verified, validated by the nodes through the cryptography network, and recorded in a publicly distributed ledger called a blockchain. Bitcoin was proposed and developed by Satoshi Nakamoto. This is supposedly a pseudonym acquired by either an anonymous person or a group of people. The currency was made publicly available for use in 2009, and its implementation was released as open-source software. On 18 August, 2008, a pseudo-anonymous user registered the domain bitcoin.org with the email satoshi.gmx, thus publishing the Bitcoin around the globe. On October 31, 2008, a white paper named Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a crypto mailing list. Nakamoto implemented the Bitcoin as an open-source software and released its source code in January 2009 on SourceForge.net. To this day, Satoshi's identity is not found. To say, we are not even sure if it is an individual or a group of people. Bitcoin blockchain came into existence on January 3, 2009. When its creator Satoshi Nakamoto mined its Genesis block. A text was embedded into this block that says the Times January 2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. The note was made a reference and as comment to a headline stating on the instability caused by the fractional reserve banking published by the Times. The original abstract that is submitted in the Bitcoin white paper is self-explanatory. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another, without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. The proposed solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamps transactions and hashes them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but also proves that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as a majority of CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they'll generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structure. Messages are broadcast on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. The white paper submitted is 9 pages long, with 12 subsections covering all the aspects that are related to the Bitcoin network. First is introduction. Second is transactions. Third is timestamp server. Fourth is proof of work. Fifth is network. Sixth is incentive. Seventh is reclaiming disk space. Eighth is simplified payment verification. Ninth is combining and splitting value. 10th is privacy. 11th is calculations, and last is conclusion. It covered all the necessary information required to understand the Bitcoin blockchain network. Bitcoin made a significant contribution to the cryptocurrency system and paved a new path for the development of decentralized systems and the blockchain community. Timestamp servers are the typical form of servers that are used to cryptographically sign, authenticate and validate a digital signature with a signing certificate that took place at a particular moment of time. This allows a user to verify at some time in future that a document or a program or any other file was digitally verified and signed at a particular instance of time. The timestamping idea is ancient. Robert Hooke, the discoverer of Hooke's law, did not publish his writings at the time of his discovery in the year 1660, but wanted to claim the priority. So he first published an anagram and released the translation so that he will be remembered as the first one published, but without actually publishing. Galileo also used the same technique for concealing the details of his discoveries of the Venus phase. The same approach was also used by Sir Isaac Newton once in the details he wrote about the fluxional technique. Haber and Stornetta are the original inventors of the trusted digital timestamping technique. They discuss the technique in their literature. By today, there are many timestamping schemes that are designed varying in multiple cases, mainly security. Some of the standard schemes are as follows. PKI-based. In PKI-based timestamp server, the timestamp token used is secured using the PKI digital signature. Linking-based. In this schema, the new timestamp is generated in relation with the existing timestamps. Distributed. The scheme that uses the cooperation of multiple parties in the process of creating a timestamp. Transient key scheme. It is a flavor of PKI-based schema. It uses signing keys with short lifespan for timestamping the objects. MAC. It is founded in an NSI standard, which is used to timestamp with a simple secret key. Database. It stores the documented hashes in a trusted location as archives, and also provides a lookup service for verification that is available online. Hybrid scheme. A mixed flavor of the link scheme with a sign method. By the standards specified by RFC 3161 to be a trusted timestamp, it must be issued by a trusted third-party TTP, which is responsible for the role timestamping authority TSA. This arrangement ensures the existence of a data item before a certain instant, and restricts the owner of the data to backdate the timestamp. Higher the number of TSAs, higher the reliability or the vulnerability. The newer standard NSI SCX 9.95 amplifies the RFC standard, with its data-level security prerequisites for ensuring the integrity of the data against any source of time, which is proved as a reliable source to any third party. This new standard is mainly applied for the authentication of financial transactions, legal evidence and many more which are digitally signed. The backbone of creating a timestamp depends on digital signatures and hashing algorithms. In the first step, a hash value is created with the given data. The calculated hash value is further sent to the trusted timestamp authority. The TSA appends the current timestamp with the hashed value, and digitally signs the concatenated string with its own private key. Then after, the signed hash and the timestamp used are sent to the requester. The requester stores the received information along with the original data available at its end. A series of steps has to be followed to verify the timestamp of a date item. The data which is to be verified is first hashed and appended with the timestamp provided. Then, we need to decrypt the data received from the TSA, which is signed with the TSA's private key. So we use its public key for the decryption process. Then, we compare the decrypted data with the computed data which needs to be verified. If the data evaluates the same, the submitted timestamp is valid, else it is an invalid timestamp, which means either the stamp is modified, or it is not issued by the TSA. One of the most asked questions is, how does a blockchain store data in it? To store data, which is almost always the transactions list in a block, the blockchain technology follows a series of steps to provide safe and secure data storage. Steps are as follows. At the initial stage, the data that needs to be stored in the block is broken into chunks of data that is possible to accommodate into a block. After splitting the data into chunks, each chunk will be encrypted to limit the access to only the owner unless it is specified. Next, the data chunks or files will be distributed across the network in such a way that all your data will be available, even if a part of the network is unavailable. With this method, we can use blockchain technology and data storage for providing cloud storage services. In cloud storage such as Amazon or Microsoft, instead of the company handling your data, the files will be distributed across a network of people all over the world. The blockchain cloud is shared by the community for maintenance, and still it restricts others to modify your files. So, we can also use this technology in public services to keep public information safe, secure, and decentralized. Another method of saving a file on blockchain is just saving it using a cryptographic digital signature. If we encrypt it with our public key, the only way to access the file is by decrypting it with our private key, which is only accessible to us. Thus, the privacy of the file is ensured and untampered. We also need not to save the file on the chain. When we verify the file, it guarantees that the version of the document exists at another time. The smart contracts used on the blockchain ensure the transactions that happen on the blockchain are met with the given conditions. That means that the records that are stored on the blockchain can be programmed to update automatically. There are some awesome advantages by operating cloud storage using blockchain technology. Some of them are as follows. The download speeds of the network will be increased exponentially by using peer-to-peer networks similar to torrents. The data is globally distributed, which means access at any time and anywhere. No need for privacy concerns. Data storage cost is relatively cheap, such as $2 per terabyte per month. The immutability feature of the blockchain can ensure the files are unaltered, which provides the freedom for the users to store sensitive data without worrying about the security and privacy of the files. Blockchain storage might be the efficient way to store sensitive data, but it also has some limitations that we need to consider first. Some of them are as follows. The security is directly proportional to the size of the network. If the blockchain network used does not have a big network holding it, that means it doesn't have a good number of nodes in the network. The entire system is susceptible to 51% attack, which directly disrupts the data. More redundancy is needed to secure the data than any other storage model if the network is not big or reliable enough. The overhead of the network communication is huge. Network bandwidth can be a problem, and it can be overcome by selecting an efficient consensus algorithm. Even though blockchain technology is at the developing stage, there are few organizations that offer some great use cases. One of them is the implementation of blockchain in the data storage platform. Storage.io and Sia.tech are two famous blockchain storage platforms that are available right now. Filecoin also allows to mine Filecoins by sharing storage space, and the coins are mined by sharing storage space. Filecoins are traded for storage space on the Filecoin network or converted to bitcoins or altcoins or cash. That's all for this session. For any query, please visit community.blockchain-council.org, and you can also email us at hello@blockchain-council.org.